Artificial intelligence is reshaping how we perceive reality. From photorealistic deepfakes to AI-generated ads to chatbots that simulate friendships, the boundaries between real and synthetic are blurring. So the shift raises urgent questions, psychological, sociological questions. What do we believe? Who do we trust? What counts as authentic? What is real in a world of AI? Welcome to the Rundown. It gets scarier every week watching the panel dance. Every week it gets scarier.
Especially since you won't play the music anymore.
But holy mackerel, do we have a panel for you tonight with so much to talk about. That beautiful noise that you just heard in the background was my friend Lois Richter. How are you, Lois?
I am so glad to be here, and I'm interested in what we're going to do. David, what are we going to do?
I have no idea what we're going to do. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start by just introducing everyone. How's that? Can we go over to my friend, Mr. Tony Mobley? How are you, sir?
I am fine, sir.
I caught a little bit of the show last night. It looked really interesting.
Well, we had an interesting situation. We had a parent of special education children, and we had an educator.
Yeah.
It was a great conversation. We're actually going to do part 2 September 24th.
Fantastic. I love that you brought a parent in. I think that's such an important voice to have here. We have some more friends, some regulars, like Tamara. Hey, Tamara.
Hello.
How are you?
I am obsessed, which we can't see in these close-ups, but everyone will be looking after this, at your little green friend behind you on the couch.
So here's the story of my little green friend. Don't wait. Okay, so that's my green friend over there. He's actually not my green friend. He's my friend. He's my daughter's green friend. My daughter, as she grows up, needs to jettison many of her stuffed things. She's now 17, and this is one of the. But I couldn't get rid of him.
He's fantastic.
I really kind of like him there, you know?
He's fantastic. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, speaking of little green things, hi, Dave.
How you doing?
I don't know. I'm the master of segues, and that one was awful.
That was terrible. Yeah, you'll have to get. Yeah, we'll cut your pay for that.
Okay.
No, this is right up my street. This is something I love talking about. Is what is real, and so I'm Jack for this.
Love it.
I even have just one. Prop. Just one.
Oh no. Oh God, Dave with the props. Dave with the props. Hey, you know who's not up your street? Leo Mindell. Because he's across the pond. See, that was better. That was a little better.
That was a little bit better. A little bit better.
Leo, I'm so happy to see you.
And you. I was just saying, it's 700 days, I think, since you and I both saw each other in real life. So actually in real life rather than a fake on screen. So, yeah.
That's right.
It's good to be here.
It is really, really wonderful to have you here. And I'm also really, really thrilled to welcome Jeffrey Powers. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited to have you here, to have your voice be a part of this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that I could take off a night to work on the show.
Take off a night from work to work. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the news.
What happened to Sky?
What? Who? Where? What?
Sky?
Skydiving? What?
Sky. Shoot.
You missed Sky.
Did I not? I missed Sky?
There's so many people. I'm just back over here in the corner with my green things.
No.
Get a Kleenex.
Sky, you're my favorite. That little news intro, that was a bump, bump, bump for you. Bump, 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 Sky.
Oh, I'm a regular too, because in Boston, when you ask for regular, you get cream and 2 sugars.
Sky,
There you go.
you have
That's
you have,
the news.
Sky, there's something on your shoulders.
I reached for the green things, and apparently these are my stress elements during COVID, and I have a collection of them. This. I think this is actually a dog chew toy, but I stole it from my grandpuppy.
Oh,
So there you go. That's
Sky,
the news.
thank you for
Okay.
making the time to be here. I'm sorry.
You
I
are
left
welcome, and I'm so grateful with all the friends. All the friends.
All the friends. All right.
And you've met Leo in person. I haven't.
I have.
Sad.
And I've met you in person.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's dive into this. So this was not intentional, and I apologize, but both of the news stories that I grabbed for today happen to be about AI, about ChatGPT and AI. So I apologize. It's not my intention. But the first one really jumped out at me that OpenAI just announced that they're going to put in place guardrails for teens and people in emotional distress by the end of the year. This was just announced this past Tuesday. Apparently this is coming about in part, at least, because there have been people who have been blaming and suing OpenAI for ChatGPT encouraging suicide or murder or failing to appropriately intervene. I'm not sure how an AI can be expected to appropriately intervene. I'm not sure what that means, but currently ChatGPT directs users expressing suicidal intent to crisis hotlines. This is an article from Axios. OpenAI says it does not currently refer self-harm cases to law enforcement. And the big picture is that last week, the parents of a 16-year-old Californian who killed himself last spring sued OpenAI, saying that OpenAI is responsible for their son's death. Is this going to make a difference? Is this just lip service? Is this important? What do you think?
How are they going to figure out who is mentally unstable or who is a teenager? How are they going to know any of that stuff?
The only way they can know any of it is based on what you give it, what you type in. Right?
My feeling is that the AI library should have enough in it to know that you never broach those subjects. It's like talking about religion with an AI. I mean, you can't. It just won't give you what you need. And people who are looking to solve their emotional problems or their anxiety by talking to a chatbot are obviously needing a chatbot that knows this is not the thing you should be doing. And it ought to have a stock phrase. So this is not a thing you should be talking to me about. Go talk to a professional.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure that a young person in stress or in need is going to pay attention to that, especially if, one of the things.
But if every inquiry they make, it does that, then they know they're not going to be able to get.
Fair enough. I mean, look, one of the things about ChatGPT, we talked about this. Tamara and I sort of went on a little bit of a rant about this when 5.0 came out, is that it lost a little bit, but not all of the lovey-doveyness. That if you need someone to talk to who's just going to be a good listener and feedback positive whatevers and make you feel like you're right, boy, ChatGPT or probably any of them are the way to go, right?
It ought to say judgment. You should go see your rabbi. That's what it should say.
Even the rabbis are judgy a little bit, right? But ChatGPT really isn't. And so I can absolutely understand why someone who's in distress or a young person might turn to one of these tools.
But in 2025, isn't there some amount of responsibility as you're designing these things to understand that that's a possible use case? Because we've been for years, we put trigger warnings on TV shows and we put ratings and things like that. It just feels like it's not that hard to program in if you get this. Here's the number for the suicide hotline. I mean, it just
but it
feels
does that.
like
It does that. And I think that what we're really talking about here, and this is why it's maybe a little controversial, is that while ChatGPT did not encourage this woman, there's a 29-year-old woman, it didn't encourage the woman to kill herself when she wrote a suicide note in there. It also didn't report that she was a danger to herself, which a human therapist would be mandated to do. So that's what we're talking
Right.
about here. What we're talking about is these models somehow now becoming responsible like a therapist might be, and becoming mandated reporters. So this isn't just about a splash screen. This is about somehow OpenAI reaching out to the authorities and someone showing up at your door potentially. That to me is a whole other level. And I don't know, Tony, what do you think?
I really think that it speaks to a deeper problem, a bigger problem. The fact that people feel that they have to reach out to an AI for support, that is a commentary on our society. And the fact that these things are going to be put in place to sort of make sure that the AI sounds the alarm is okay. It's okay that that's going to be put in place. But the bigger issue still is, why are so many people in crisis? And what can we do about that?
Yep, fair question, Lois. Don't forget to unmute, Lois.
If the person is writing a suicide note and they're using an AI as an editor or a typewriter or whatever, that's not using them as a therapist. I don't see how anyone could expect a program to be equated with a therapist. Now, I understand that the parents are very upset and they're going to sue anybody they can sue. I mean, there's been parents suing television shows for their kids killing themselves. And I don't see that this is a problem that is fixable by changing a program. I don't see that at all. I agree with Tony. This is a societal problem.
Yeah. Let's go Jeffrey and Leo.
So I'm going to put this into a little bit of perspective here. I'm a Gen Xer, of course. When I was in 5th grade, one of the students that I went to school with actually passed away. And the reason why he passed away was because his dungeon master told him to. In 2008, we had the situation with Abraham K on Justin TV, who ended up killing himself on live stream. We've had, if you go back between the different generations, you're going to find something where a computer and a person are going to lead to some sort of altercation. And to the sense that you guys are talking with what's going on with ChatGPT and saying you got to get help, there's also that question of privacy, because ChatGPT, OpenAI is already under scrutiny for collecting data and muddying data basically all across the internet. So if they end up, even if it's to save a life, they end up sending out information saying, "Hey, this person needs to be helped," then that can come back to a different type of lawsuit. And I'm playing devil's advocate on here, and I really hope that OpenAI, ChatGPT, Gemini, all of them have some sort of way to kind of say, hey, this person's in trouble. We need to figure out how to help them. But then there has to be some sort of terms of service. If they're under 18, if they're using OpenAI, they should have parents' permission. If they're under 13, they need to have guardianship watching them over these commands. And we're talking about some very big legal issues here, because if you do, you get sued, and if you don't, you get sued.
Yeah. No matter what you do, you get sued, it seems like. Leo.
Yeah, and taking that further, and I agree with everything that Jeffrey has just said there. Once you open this can, you're going to come into problems, and this could be a major, major problem. You're saying about suicide, but if you turn around and somebody then puts in that says, "I think I'm pregnant, how do I deal with this?" And before you know it, there will be laws to say that ChatGPT has to report to the authorities anybody it thinks that is going down the route of getting an abortion, and that is what will happen.
Yeah.
And you can see, and you can see every single other example of that. It will suddenly And in back to something that Ken Jordan said on a recent show is that once you start then interfering with how these AI models work, the AI models in the US will die and they will appear in other countries where they're not regulated because people know that they can't use an AI model that is just controlled, and you will basically kill the goose in doing it.
You know, I hadn't thought about OpenAI or any company. It's not just OpenAI. Any company having to report. If you're a mandated reporter for mental health, and there are laws about abortion, then you may be required to report that also. But you also just made me think about security and safety, and if people are, which we already are talking and telling our AIs about our physical ailments. I mean, I uploaded a picture of a really nasty bruise that I had a few weeks ago, and I asked it, could this be something more than just a bruise? I mean, people I think do that all the time, and think about if that data gets out and how that could affect our health insurance premiums, how it could affect employment. If someone knows that you've talked to chat about suicide,
Right.
that's going to affect everything in your life.
More than just suicide.
Right,
Somebody
of course.
says, how do you build a bomb? How do you how
Right.
do you do this? How do you I don't know? How do you stalk a person?
Yeah.
Will that get reported? How will that work?
Well,
So
I
you-
always joke around because if anybody looked in my Amazon cart history, I have like 50 body bags and like ski masks in the same cart thing because I was propping a show, right? So where's that to stop from being like, well, she put some really suspicious things in her, in her shopping. So I think I think it is a really dangerous slope.
So there's
And also, I'd be the person as a writer going and saying, give me the step-by-step on how to kill somebody with no intention of killing them, right?
So here, let me just throw in a couple of details here. So again, this is from Axios. So a network of over 90 physicians across 30 countries will give input on mental health context and help evaluate the models. That sounds like nothing but good. ChatGPT users must be 13 and up with parent permission for users under 18. Within the month, this is, I think, nice. Parents will be able to link their accounts with those belonging to their teens for more direct control, after which the teens will go off and create their own accounts that their parents don't know about and that are not linked to their parents, and so it won't matter. But, and then these steps are only the beginning. Character.ai has also been blamed for more than a teenager's suicide, introduced similar parental controls. Okay. I'm not sure. I mean, this right. Convincing those ages 13 and 18 to link their accounts to their parents could be an even tougher sell. Yeah. And Leo, as you said, people will go elsewhere if they can't have their own here. Go ahead, Leo.
So there's a recent law that's passed in the UK and that required adult sites with adult content that you had to log in. You had to you now, for sites with adult content in the UK, you have to provide a login which is via a credit card, etc., to prove who you are. After a massive drop off in those sites being visited in the UK, everybody then worked out that if you then went to a VPN and you went to another country, you could go back to exactly the same site. So what happens with rules and laws is when you create a law, it's just like damming up a river. It finds another way around, and it will do exactly the same. And in the respect to this, the damage though could be that the good AI models or the better AI models, people will realize that this one is compromised, if that's the right term, and that they will move to another area. Because as soon as you start believing that what's in there isn't giving you the everything, you will then start questioning what else has been removed out of the model, what else has been hijacked, and as you rightly say, if you then believe that everything you're being putting is being passed over to somebody to check and a governmental oversight, you're just going to sit there and go, it's not worth even asking a question of, as you say, you get a bee sting and you find out that you're now off the list of people because you're allergic to bees or something.
Right. Yeah. Vic actually said and he just almost said exactly what you were just saying. Will asking an AI agent about first aid treatment for a minor laceration prompted to report possible self-harm or physical abuse. Yeah, a little bee sting. Right. Look, and the flip side of this, the flip side is we have young, impressionable kids and some people with some real challenges, psychological challenges, that we also want to try and protect.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer is, but we'll have to see how they roll it out, what it looks like, and where it goes from there. Sky, go for it.
Well, I think as we've been discussing, people are looking for that silver bullet, that single answer, and somebody else to be responsible. And I think what I can do is be responsible for the people that I know and love and try to show dignity to, and then consequently be that example. And are these tools apparently they're very profitable into the billions of dollars, and are there stakeholders and stockholders that are wanting to make them even more successful so their dividends are even more viable? Well, yeah. And so in the commerce of things, versus the health for one another, how do we parent ourselves so that we can parent our children that is our responsibility, and bring that back into vogue. And yes, an automobile can do 3,000 miles, 3,000 pounds of a weapon. So it can be a very dangerous thing, but you need to be able to train people how to use it responsibly.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeffrey, let me give you the last word, then we'll move forward.
I'm gonna. It's all about AI, and everybody keeps saying AI, and I've been really thinking about these two letters, artificial intelligence. And Apple, by the way, it's not artificial intelligence; it's Apple intelligence. It's different, and it really is an all-encompassing thing here, because a lot of people just slap it on anything, say, hey, we got AI, but in all reality, it's not artificial intelligence. It's a learning model that's creating things and trying to give you the best possible answer from its learned base of knowledge. Now, with that said, if we tried to create something that, there are people that are trying to do that, creating something that will allow people to use AI as a therapist, and there are services out there that do that. But then all of a sudden you're asking yourself, well, is that information, this information that I give to this AI therapist, is that something that ends up going into an LLM, or their database, which then in turn gets used for the next person that comes up and starts talking about it, and then where's the right, where's the wrong here is the bottom line. And the big thing is that we've got to figure out what AI is. How we got to better define AI to make it something that we can mold into something that can be useful and be able to help people if they do cries for help through ChatGPT, through Gemini.
Yeah. I know I said that was the last word, but Lois, sorry, go ahead. Just unmute yourself.
In one of the things that you showed on the screen, it said that this particular, I think it was character.ai, had put into place these things in March. Now we're doing this in September. It's been quite a few months. I'm wondering what happened. How did things change?
Yeah.
Did it any effect? So I think we need to get a follow-up on this at some future time.
You're right. That's a really good question. Was there any change in behavior over at other places that have done this? Are any of you on LinkedIn? Jeffrey, you see, okay, finally, someone. I don't get LinkedIn. Unless you're looking for a job, I just don't get it. Like, all I ever see on LinkedIn are ads or job postings. So
there's a lot you can do on LinkedIn.
I know there is. Maybe I just never see it because I never look around. But you don't need LinkedIn anymore, apparently, because OpenAI just announced that they are building the AI LinkedIn or LinkedIn, I don't know, Open LinkedIn. It's the Open AI Jobs platform. Now, they say that they're working with LinkedIn as one of the different places, along with Walmart and John Deere, Boston Consulting Group, Accenture, Texas Association of Business, Bay Area Council, state governments. So one of the initiatives they're doing is this Open AI Jobs platform, which is if you're looking for an AI savvy employee, or if you just need help with a specific task, finding the right person, they say that AI is going to help you find the perfect matches between what companies need and what workers can offer. This is directly from the OpenAI blog. The second thing that they're doing is they're creating something called OpenAI certifications, because that anyone looking to hire, whether to the job platforms or elsewhere, wants to know that candidates are fluent and confident in AI skills. And so I guess this is going to be some sort of certification. They want to get 10 million Americans certified by 2030, and to help us, I guess, sell ourselves on their new OpenAI Jobs platform. So are we ready to switch from LinkedIn? Is this a good thing for employment in the United States? Is this a bad thing? Go ahead, just jump in, Tony. Go ahead. Tamara, whoever. Now, see, I said, wait, before we started, I told people, if you raise your hands, I'll see it. That's not, don't get used to that, please. That's not who we are. We just yell. So just go, Tony.
So, wow. The first thing I want to say is that for me, LinkedIn is a great resource for me to share conversations with Tony Mobley content. I get more feedback, more engagement from sharing conversation with Tony Mobley on LinkedIn than I do on Facebook or any other social media. So that's the first thing I wanted to say about LinkedIn. For me, it's a good resource for sharing content. The other thing I wanted to say was that hearing you talk about OpenAI makes me want to circle back to our conversation last week, David, where we talked about AI bias. And I really, really see that this could be used in a way that definitely pushes some people out of the workforce. And it becomes sort of targeted employment.
Yeah.
What he said.
It's already like that.
What he said.
Yeah. No, I sort of wish that this article, that this blog post had come out before our conversation last week, because you're right. This is very much aligned with some of those concerns that we had. Tamara, go ahead.
So I'll be vulnerable. I do pay for LinkedIn. I pay for the jobs area of LinkedIn specifically. And what I can tell you as someone who is in the job market, being in the job market in 2025 is unbelievable. The AI has not been helpful in any way. You apply to a job, it goes through an AI that decides if you're even going to get passed on to someone else. So having another AI tell me all of those things really just does not encourage me in the job market. There are things that I like about it. When I look at a job, LinkedIn has its little, it scans my LinkedIn profile and scans the thing and says, well, here's how you're qualified or not qualified. But at this point, there are no jobs that are being hired based on any job posting. You have to know someone to get into those jobs. So, they're already weeding out people who are qualified candidates or not qualified candidates, or through biases that are built in, where even from the standpoint of hiring, they're not getting in to people who are the hiring managers. So I'm not all that, I don't know what is so different about what they're offering than what is there now. Is there a way to solve some of the current problems that AI has introduced into the hiring process? Because the hiring process is crazy right now. You're going through 5, 6, 7 interviews to hire people, because people don't know how to hire humans anymore. They don't know how to have interviews and face-to-face conversations and know how to get the right person that's going to match their team. They are relying on a computer to tell you if they're qualified, and then all of these different things to weed people out in ways that we didn't have to do that before. But it really speaks to how we're not investing in humans and we're investing in technology, which, I love technology, but
it's so I said, I'm coming over to you, Leo. I said on the other side of that, I've never put myself out on LinkedIn looking for a job, but I have posted jobs that I've been hiring for, and I've had the worst experience.
Yep.
I've never hired someone from LinkedIn, and I don't think I will ever place an ad there again. Because just the people that are there are either not serious, or they're not reading the job description, so they don't know what they're applying for, or they just don't show up. It's a complete and utter waste of my money and my time, for what it's worth. Go ahead, Leo.
The issue I have is that it's a shortcut. This is the problem that with everything that we have, is that while you can be good at using a tool like AI, you can be good at using LinkedIn, you can be good at it. A lot of people, you look at all of these things as an ability to shortcut. The one thing that you have to do when you're recruiting, and I've recruited hundreds and hundreds of people, you have to sit down and talk to them. And if you take that one bit away, it doesn't matter how great their CV is, or their CV was written with AI now. And I've seen some amazing CVs that come out now with these words and everything that you would never believe. And then you sit down and you go, you are selling me something, as we would say, you are polishing something that you cannot polish. And that is exactly where they're using it for. And it is really, really tough. And that's the problem, I think, with everything that's happening in here. I also find that the idea and the concept of creating certified AI professionals is just a way of ChatGPT and others saying, oh, look, aren't we good that we are able to turn around, that we've got certified engineers, the same way as there are Cisco certified engineers, et cetera, et cetera. But they're certified in a product that actually requires a degree of use. The whole objective of some of this was that you wouldn't need to have these skills. Yeah. So you should be able to use it. And as I think Tony sort of alluded to, you are going to end up with yet another tier of a reason to remove people out because they are not, in quotes, competent in something that
I'm not sure I agree with the last thing you said. And then I'm coming to Jeffrey and Sky. I don't think... I think there are unique skills that are needed to do AI well. I think if you put in time and effort and you learn how to prompt and how to use it, you get better results. And I think that if I want to hire someone who's going to be an efficient worker and who's going to use tools to be more efficient and more effective, then it wouldn't bother me that. Now, having said all of that, I spend 80% of my time on AI not following any of those best practices and just, throwing crap at the wall and seeing, and then it eventually works. But I don't see any harm in someone having specific training, specific skills. For me, it'll entirely depend on the training itself. Google has Google certification trainings, which are kind of blah, if you ask me. They're not worth much at all. Sorry, Jeffrey and Sky, please.
First of all, I'll go to that certification thing. Certifications are good for two things. One, so some college can make money off of the training, and two, so somebody can make money off of the certifications. That's pretty much it. There's been tons of, and I've been certified in different things. I was a certified Windows 95 technician. I was a certified NT technician. What does it do to me in 2025? Absolutely nothing. So certification is, it's a nice little thing to have on the wall.
But hold on. You chose to be certified. I mean, you got certified in things that 20 years ago were really valuable.
I got certified in things that were 20 years ago, but it was because I was told I needed to be certified in that. In all reality, I didn't need to be certified.
You didn't.
In that.
So that didn't bring you any benefit.
No, that did not bring me any benefit. Okay. But getting back to where I was going with this whole thing, I am looking for work. My last contract, because of tariffs, has been cut off dramatically, and so I've been going to LinkedIn to try and find it. And I've had major problems with LinkedIn, not in the fact, well, yeah, in the fact of I apply for a job and I hear nothing back, and then maybe I'll get an email that says we stopped looking or we hired somebody. I had one very interesting email that came back to me, and it said, "Thank you for applying for our job. We don't look at the applications for 3 months." And I turned, I went, "Are you kidding me? 3 months before you even start to consider me for whatever job you just asked me to apply for?" That doesn't make any sense. So it makes me feel like I just put my email and all my credentials into somebody's spam bot, and I'll probably be getting phone calls saying, "Hey, we've got these great Walmart checker jobs for you," and that really concerns me. Now, on the AI aspect, I want to show you this. I got turned on to this thing, and yeah, I have not gotten any work off of this, but I've applied on a thing called Mercer, and this is over at mercer.com. And basically you fill out an application, and then it goes through and it gives you some job opportunities. And then when you apply for one, what happens is they ask you a few questions, and then they take you to an AI bot that interviews you. And what that AI bot will do is, after you're done being interviewed, it'll come back and say, you probably shouldn't say that, this, you probably shouldn't say this, you probably should be a little bit reserved on this, and maybe you should point out more on what you talked about here. So it's actually helping you try to do a better interview for next time.
But wait, it's not a real interview. It's like a practice interview?
No, it's an AI. It's a real interview.
It's their weed out interview.
Oh, wow.
But they help you, because you can apply for another job and you can go through another AI interview. And the idea is, if you can get better, if you don't hit the mark on the first one, maybe you can exclude saying one thing or another and then get the job on the second one. Improve yourself through there. Does it work or not? I don't know, because I've only applied for a couple of these. And once you've done through the first interview, sometimes they'll accept that for the other job that you're looking for.
Huh.
Can I just jump back in on that? In the UK, we have, I don't know if you have the same in America, we have a theory test when you learn to drive. You now have a theory test, and then you have a practical test. And when they brought out the theory test, what came out is a load of programs that would teach you how to pass your theory test. So nobody actually learns their theory. They just learn the program to learn how to pass their theory test. And does that make them a better driver? Most of them couldn't even know which way the car goes. They just learn the theory test. And I just feel, when you start putting in these things, you end up turning around to make people be suitable for a job. They're not. They're suitable to pass a test, right? Not suitable for a job. And that's the problem that I feel but in the reverse is, if that's what you have to do to be able, you still have to pass your theory test to be able to do your practical test. So in a way, if that's what you have to do to actually get into the interview process and wear that color trouser, etc., then maybe you have to do it.
I think if you can do a general application, that'd be one thing, but you have to be so specific with each of these applications that to apply to any of them, you are jumping through hoops and using AI to try to tailor everything to match exactly what will get through that first set of computers. That is a full-time job. That is a full-time gig.
I once heard a gentleman that worked at Microsoft, and he said the thing that people forget is, we are not hiring you to help you. We are hiring you to help us. So what do you bring to the party? So today I went fishing with two other gentlemen in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, in the Puget Sound. There were 50 boats at $14 a person. The game and wildlife, I'm hoping were well taken care of, but there were a lot of salmon that were pulled out of that particular part of the water. But it wasn't all, we pulled 3 out in about 6 hours. And I looked at that $14 and I thought, well, if I went to Safeway, I could probably have picked up that, but I wouldn't have had that 3 hours of fun. But the chat of, well, let's try this location. Let's try that location. Let's put this hook on, let's put this bait on the end. And the goal, of course, is to come home with a beautiful, legal something for dinner. So if we were surviving off of this, it may not be the way to do it. But I continue to look at, I feel a combination that I'm a combination of Tamara's. I've only ever gotten jobs through relationships.
Yeah.
I'm a combination of Jeffrey in the whole thing that the market leader is the right place and the place you're going to get it. It's like I continue to go back to what's the need, and is it survival? And consequently, if I could hire Jeffrey, if I could hire Tamara, I would, and I've tried, but I'm not able to at this point. But keep putting on that bait, keep finding that place where the fish are.
I think there are two levels that we need to think about in terms of all of this. So the first thing is that you have to have access to a computer and be able to have access to AI. That's number one. Again, I'm going to go back to the point I made earlier. Then you have to deal with the bias of the AI. And you cannot tell me that there will not be bias. So this is two layers that will insulate regular people from the process. And I think that that's something that we need to think about.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, my friends. Let's transition. I'm skipping my therapy for today. I'll do therapy next week. Because I have a much bigger therapy question, which is, what is real? And I think that an obvious direction for this conversation to go is, how do we tell fake news or fake stuff or AI generated content from real content? That's not actually what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is the definition of what's real changing because of all of this new content, because content is being created so differently, because we are calling into question so much that we see with our own eyes? Is how we understand reality different? So let's just open it up to start the conversation, then we can dive in a little bit. I saw Dave and Lois. Go for it, Dave.
We live in a continuum from suspended belief to important information. And we allow ourselves to be deceived just for entertainment purposes. We allow ourselves to be deceived to be advertised to. There's a lot of, quasi-correct and quasi-incorrect information in all media, radio, TV, magazines. You read books and you imagine the reality, and it's something you construct. So we're constantly, our brain is asking to, squirrel, asking to attend to things that we need to survive. And we have attention to things where we're relaxed and where survival's not a problem, and we get to be entertained by somebody who tells a story in the fire. So I think in the sense that you want to be real is really hard, because real is constantly changing in front of you by leaving your home and going out in real life. But real is also your willingness to accept things that aren't. My favorite story is watching toddlers and a magician. They don't care. Everything to a toddler is magic. They don't know how food appears in front of them and where it came from. They don't have any concept of the full reality. They only have what they've learned so far. And as we move forward through life, we feel we have what's called experience generally to be able to discern whether or not something in front of me is going to be real. Now, you had in your notes here that tests showed that a good majority of people, when they're surveyed about what something might be, is it this or that, usually choose that that's not real, this is. There's lots of evidence for that. But one of the experiences I had was trying to convince somebody of something that was not real. They were convinced they had seen a car accident on video, and he was an employee of mine, he was an animator, he's a very good animator. He caught me as we came in the office, and he said, "Dave, you got to come see this. I think it's really scary." And he showed me the short clip of a guy getting hit by a car. And I looked at it and I said, "Yeah, it's not real." And I only needed a moment to think about it and say, "Okay, it's not real." And he's like arguing with me. We were at it for 10 minutes. I eventually convinced him that it was a green screen with a car going through, and the guy's not actually in front of the car, and he's on ropes or wires, and it's a special effect. And I proved it to him over a period of time by showing him the camera's not moving, the people across the way are not looking at what's going on, and the sound effects are added. And this guy is a stuntman who was hauled over the thing. A normal car accident, he'd go through the windshield. So you're not looking at reality because you're not experienced enough to know why that camera didn't move and why the shot is so beautifully framed and all the rest. So it's a stunt. Okay, that's fine. It took me a while to convince him. He eventually caught it and said, because he's an animator, he knew that you can make up things and have things happen that's not real. But there we go. But we will watch Bugs Bunny cartoons and be totally entertained.
Right. And the fact that that you need so much knowledge to be able to discern is precisely the problem, because the tools are getting better and better and better at faking us all out. I'm going to go around. I just want to bring up Beauty Bubble just said there's something that I've been leaning into, and that is, I love this, authentically synthetic in storytelling, in news, in the everyday matters of household and township. Authentically synthetic. That's fantastic. I don't remember who I called on next, so someone just talk. Leo, I know, had his hand up.
Yeah. So I think one of the things, as Dave mentioned, is the fact that we allow ourselves to learn. We learn by experience, by hearing from other people, and by imagination. So that's how we work, and that's how our minds learn. What we need to be looking at is making a change, and I think this is the big change, is to make the assumption that everything is fake in what you see, and that you go back to the days which we used to have on TV, where it would have on the top right hand corner, it says this is live. And once you have that, then you are saying this is the legitimate. If they don't have the live and they don't have the example that it's live, that's when you know. The same way as when you look at a painting and you have to look to see if it's got a signature to say it's the real one or if it's not the real one. That's what we're going to end up doing. I think that's it. We are not. We shouldn't be worried about this. It's a change, a transfer from where we thought that everything was live or was real on TV or on the screen, because it is on a screen of some description. And we're just going to have to change that. That's all. Nothing major. Just move to the point that unless it actually has the stamp on it to say it's live or it's real, then it's
Everything
not.
is fake. Everything is fake.
Everything is fake. Everything. Yeah, but every single cartoon is fake. But we seem to be happy with that.
Yeah, but we don't. But we don't turn to cartoons for news and for
Do we not?
I beg to.
Do we not?
I mean, we turn to people like Jon Stewart.
You don't think that
true.
every Disney cartoon has a learning message that's written in it that you are trying to explain to people to how to change their lives? That's how.
Okay, that's moral teaching. I'm not. That's not.
Okay.
I don't think that's news. But Sky and Jeffrey, go for it.
Okay.
Well, the irony is that I make a living telling people a story, and a story is in a. I get your imagination going, and I get you going along a path, and that's how I've made a living, and created value for myself and given value to others in creating imagination. So I think we need to reinvent the word fake, because what do we believe and what do we have faith in? I think are the two is what we're asking here. Now, are these tools rapidly making things, to Leo's point, change faster than we're ready and prepared to allow them to happen? That maybe the change is happening faster than we're used to.
Yeah. Jeffrey, please.
So, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back again, because the reality is this is not new. This is just a different form that's coming out. Years ago, it was exposed that the big conglomerates, the CBSs, the NBCs, the gray medias, the some of the I don't know the other media outlet names, we're all skewing the news in some way, shape, or form to conform to what they need. And like right now, we're fighting over what's called ATSC 3.0, which is the next generation of television that gives you 4K signal, that gives you the ability to say, ooh, I like that pair of shoes, I'm going to buy that right now by just hitting a button, things like that. But they also want to put DRM on it. And there's a big fight going on there. And because they want to put together a board that's basically the conglomerate of all of these billionaires that want to control the news. And it came out big time when Rupert Murdoch's and Fox TV started out, and how people can skew the news from there. So now we're here at 2025. So it's really not this. It's not a new song at all. It's the same old song. It's just a different type of record that's being played here. So. And of course, other people have ways to kind of sneak in. They don't need to be billionaires to sneak in and show some stuff. I see stuff AI on Facebook all the time, because I call Facebook the hackers' playground, because they're always trying to find ways to manipulate news, manipulate what you do, and giving out your financial data and things like that. So I see these reels where I call them respect reels. And I talked about it this morning on Office Hours Global, the daily questions, where it's all AI based. It's like that. One of the things is a bus driver is getting ready to take off. The woman's trying to run to catch the bus, and her bag of oranges breaks open. And she's like kind of on the ground crying, and then the bus driver sees it. He gets out of the bus, he picks up the oranges, he sets it in the bus, and then she sits down in the bus. And you're thinking, oh, that's really nice. And for that might be something that's purely entertainment, and there's going to be nothing that's going to skew you in any different direction. But you get used to that, and you start seeing other things that all of a sudden they throw in maybe something subliminal, and then next thing you know, you're seeing people doing something that doesn't make too much sense to you.
But that's advertising.
They think
isn't
other
it?
things. That is advertising, but in a non-advertising world. I mean, nobody's putting money towards these reels and anybody can place them up there. And I'm seeing some pretty raunchy reels on Facebook nowadays. Yeah. And it's just, it's really disgusting. And I don't know who's sitting there trying to figure out this shouldn't be on Facebook at all.
Yeah. Lois, I'm going to come to you. I just want to highlight something, Jeffrey, that I just heard from you, and that is that this isn't new. These issues of sort of knowing what's real isn't new. We don't need AI or technology to get things wrong, and sometimes by mistake, and sometimes quite intentionally to get things wrong. But again, like we've said a million times, technology just by factors of
amplifies,
right, thousands, just amplifies our capacity to do this and to do
deceive,
real damage with it. I think, yeah. Lois,
like I said, it's a different record. That's
right,
all it is.
Right, but it's playing the same song. Yeah. Lois, don't forget to unmute.
I'm just trying to keep you guys from hearing all the squeaks in the background. I'm real. Now, for each individual person, you know that you are real. You can feel you can see you know that you're real. You meet someone in person and they're real. Now, what they say may be counter to what you believe, and we can have arguments about all that stuff, but they're a real person. And even my therapist here, she's real. Now, she's a stuffed animal, but she's a real stuffed animal. Okay? So when we're talking about what we see on screen, is it real or is it fake? I think we're getting a split in our country, in our culture, in our societies, between people who have real physical connections with the world and people who just look at screens.
Okay, wait. this is great. So
Lots to unpack.
tell me. I want your feedback on this now. So when this whole thing started with us and the Zoom and the pandemic and everything, one of the crazy little rants that I went on consistently was that we shouldn't talk about. People would say sometimes, "Are we meeting in person or virtually?" And so I had two issues with that. I said, number one, virtually, something that's virtual means it's not real. It means it's fake. So I really pushed people to not use the term virtual, but to use the term digital. And then I also said, don't say in person, because to me, you and I right now, we are in person. Like I am in person with you. The fact that we are not biologically next to each other is irrelevant to me. I am very much in person. So you said I am real and my therapist is real. Is this what we're doing right now? Is it real? As in the same sense that if we were in a room together, it would be a real conversation?
So I think
Absolutely.
the issue is that if it's on a screen, I have to do a lot of extra work to know that you are really David Paskin. I've never met you in person. Yes, I think we are having a personal conversation between us and between all of us, but it is not automatic. It is not. If you walk into the room and I can touch you, I know you're real.
Yeah.
Right here, right now, I'm making assumptions about all of you.
Right.
Now,
I
I've
could
known
be
you
wearing it.
a bunch
I
of
could be in my
months.
Vision Pro right now, and this could be an avatar.
I don't
It's
think
not
so,
that
but
good
it
yet.
could be.
Well, no,
But
but
so what I'm saying is that people who only deal with screens, and I don't think that's a lot of us, but I think those folks don't really have a comparison.
all right.
Can I?
So many
And by the
things.
way, in person means in physical person,
See, I don't
not
think so, but okay.
Yeah, I don't agree with
Wait,
that.
let me get Tony in because he's been waiting, and then Leo, and then Dave, and then Tamara, and then just you can all fight
Everybody.
over it. Go.
I am a person who has made genuine interactions with people in this space, primarily because I was in health issues that I was not able to be in person. COVID-19 was, I'm dealing with cancer and we're not able to interact with people. And I have genuine relationships with people who I have never met. It's real.
So do we all.
Now, also, I have had the opportunity to meet several of the people who I only knew through this mechanism. So I can name 5 or 6 people that I have actually met in the same room that I have also met in this environment. And so my argument is always going to be that you can make authentic relationships with people in this digital space.
Totally agree.
Leo, go for
Totally.
it, and then Dave.
October the 30th, 1938, CBS radio broadcast Orson Welles, of which people believed it was real. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean it's real? If people believe it, it's just a media. It's just a medium. This is a new medium, and you will have people who believe it, you will have people who won't. And as Dave said, that if you look at it, you'll know it, you'll be caught. Sometimes you'll be caught, you won't others. But I think it's just, as people have said, it's just another medium that's coming through. It doesn't mean to say it should be discounted, and everything that Tony said is absolutely true. You can have authentic interactions regardless of the platform.
By the way,
I want to go.
Yeah, Dave. I just want to highlight the word authentic there, because that is such a tricky word for me. What is authentic? I really struggle with that word. So I'm glad you brought it up. I struggle.
Genuine.
I just thinking
Genuine?
one very quick thing for us. Yeah, for our background, you and me, David. The authenticity of some of the literature we read, if that's the right words, or the books that we read, are how do you know?
Right.
How do you know? It's really difficult. It's who wrote it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave, go ahead.
Well, I go straight to authenticity. I've been waiting to go there, and all of us are now finding our way there. Real people don't act consistently. They do. They have flaws. They make mistakes. They change what they said. They back up a second and they say, "I didn't mean to say that." Well, AI is never going to do that. It's going to be a created thing by a person determined to get everything perfect. And that's one of the things I see on YouTube these days is there's presenters who look perfect. And I'm going, not real. And what they're telling me is unsuspect because I don't buy the person speaking. And the same goes for, I was forced to watch a session the other day of a guy giving communication advice. And he's very energetic, and he comes at you on the screen and he's throwing his ideas at you and he's telling you how you can be better. And I'm going, you're not getting through to me because you're acting. You're not real. You're not authentic to me. You're just a guy pitching. And all that pitching has been going on in YouTube since it began. And it's pitched on the radio. Like Leo said, yes, we were so unfamiliar with radio at the time that we were taking most of it on face value. We're at that baby stage with AI where everything is magic. And we're not even impressed with it because everything about this, I can't explain or it doesn't make sense to me. So it's not real. And that's the authenticity I think you were looking for, is that I know that all you people are authentic by association with other people I know who are authentic. And then I can string that back to people who I've real met. And then I can say, yeah, office hours gave me their authenticity and demanded that I be authentic to them. I couldn't come on and pitch myself as the answer to every question. I don't have the answers to all the questions, don't understand NDI at all, but that's okay. And I don't need to because everybody else is authentically knowledgeable about these things. So I get more information and more jazz like really excitement about what I see people saying on the daily office hours show and some of the other shows like this one, because this is really what the discussion should be about and not us all just sort of, well, isn't this great?
You know, so much I think of what, for those of you who may not know, officehours.global is a daily show that's been going for 5 years now. There's a lot more to say about it. But the piece that I want to bring out is that all of us, especially, like I think Tony could probably relate to this. I know I can. I came into office hours to the community with zero, with nothing. Yep. And I learned along the way how to level up and up my game and yada, yada, yada. But what I was really learning the whole time was how to be real and authentic in digital space. That's what I was learning the whole time. And the way you just described that, Dave, really just sort of...
It is possible. Yeah, we can have a relationship with our car. I have a great relationship with my axe. I'm not in love with it, but AI just doesn't do it for me. It's not bio, you know.
I'm going to jump to Tamara and Sky, but I've got to, for Tony, I've just got to bring this up from Beauty Bubble. Let me tell you, I love Tony Mobley with all my heart, and I may never be in the same pew, but I will never believe we were not. That's magnificent. So there you go. We're all together. Tamara, you've been awfully quiet down there. You want to jump in?
I've been raising my hand back here because I've got like a list of things. That's okay.
Oh my gosh, wait. She's taking notes.
I'm taking notes. I think one of the things in talking about relationships is that relationships are caused by shared experiences, multiple shared experiences with people. And I think that that's what we've experienced in office hours and here and in the Zoom test kitchen and in all of our digital spaces where we are in relationship with people. And I think back to, 20 plus years ago, I was an up and coming, executive at a TV network. And a lot of my relationships were based on every morning you'd go to coffee, you'd go to lunch, you'd go to dinner, and you'd see people once or twice a year, and these were your friends in air quotes. And I left TV when my dad had cancer. I left to take care of him and was kind of like, well, it'll be back, it'll be there for me, or it won't be. And a lot of those friends were not friends. They were not there after that experience. And it really taught me a lesson between friendship and acquaintances and what that difference is. And in these digital spaces, I have, on the flip side, in the last 5 years, created real relationships with people that I have not met before in person because we've had multiple shared experiences. We have it on our calendar to meet just casually to talk for 2 hours, which I wasn't doing prior to that. And it has shifted what I do in real life. If you are on my real life list, it is because you are on a very short list. Because I don't go and waste any time in person anymore, just casually kind of meeting with people that I don't want to be in relationship with. Because I don't have that kind of time. I'll meet with them on Zoom first. I'll meet with them on Zoom, we'll become friends, and then I will meet with them in person. Because that in-person time is so valuable now. Whereas before, it wasn't valuable. And I wasn't creating those relationships. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on, because Leo said it a while back, about a kind of an authenticity of, in the old days we had, the on live. Well, now everybody can create graphics, so we can all say that it's live. I had an experience this week where I saw a news story on Amazon, right? So the headline was basically like, Amazon is taking away your ability to send packages, to get packages outside of, you can no longer, if you're not sending them from your address, you will no longer be able to send them, which was the headline. And I was like, I'm feeling a little lazy right now. I'm going to go straight to the comments. So I went straight to the comments. 100% of the comments were, Amazon's terrible. This is awful. Everyone should quit. And I'm thinking, I'm starting to get angry. Like, I'm feeling that anger towards Amazon. And my love, Amazon is I'm having anger. And I start looking at some of the comments, and they're answering the questions that I'm asking in my head. I'm like, well, what happens if I want to send a gift to someone? Am I going to be able to send a gift? And someone asked that question. They're like, nope, they're taking that away from you. I was like, well, that's terrible. That doesn't even make any sense. And they're like, what about if I'm on a trip and I want to send something to myself on vacation? They're like, can't do it. And I was like, well, now I have to go read the story. The story inside had absolutely nothing to do with that. They are ending a program that you used to be able to have friends and family on your account. And they're shifting it over to a family account. So is Netflix, so is Disney. And honestly, should your neighbor down the street be able to use your free No, not at all. Can I send something on my account from my account anywhere in the world? I can send gifts. I can send things to myself in another place. I can send a friend something, but it has to come from my account. The headline and the story were completely opposite of each other. And so you would think, hey, this is probably not a really good news source. It was CNN. So CNN's headline was absolutely completely not anything about that. And 100% of the comments, I didn't see one commenter who actually had accurate information in the comments.
Well, between you and me, it doesn't surprise me that CNN got that wrong. They've
been
getting a lot wrong lately, but
right. But that's my point, though. My point is we can't depend on sources that we used to be able to depend on.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. Sky, go ahead.
And again, what is CNN but a place to sell advertising? The entire purpose of CNN is just get you to sell something, to get you to buy something. So the news articles is irrelevant. Did they get you hooked? Did they keep you for a long time? So that's one thing. That's my immediate response. What I'm holding on to is I once upon a time got to work at a Miss America beauty contest in Georgia. It was amazing. But I saw those women and their full makeup and regalia and all of the people that put the makeup on and the dresses and everything. And then when we were leaving through the airport, I saw those women again. They did not look the same. Obviously, they didn't look the same. They weren't on a contest. They were just trying to get on an airplane in their jeans and their shorts and their in their sweatsuits and things. They still looked nice. They still looked lovely. They still were the intelligent humans. but so context of is what I think I'm starting to hear. And with regards to, Tamara's comment of the authenticity of a human, and Lois's comment of, well, Lois, I think you're going to be who you are, whether you're on a camera or whether we're in a coffee shop. Because you are a human that knows who you are. You know yourself. But again, how many books of, the facade the faces, the masks that we present in public. So this, again, back to Leo's point, this new medium, or I'm sorry, it was Tony's point, this new medium that we are now interacting with, I think should be taken in context of we are, again, Tony has a conversation with people. Madeline Smithberg performs. And again, in context is that woman on stage in front of millions of people on camera is the same person, but in the context of performing is what we're doing. And so are we all good performers? Well, probably not. But Lois, you are a good soul. And we see that no matter what. You've learned to articulate. And Dave, to your point, you have learned how to technically, get good lights and get good audio. And then I credit Alex for just getting the basics down. Let's get good audio and good video. And after that, it's context.
Yeah, one of the things you just made me think of is the shift in trust.
I'm just grateful for that.
That you made me think of something. The shift in trust that, and Tamara, you were getting at this also, that trust has moved from source. Yes. What is the source? There it is. To what is the experience? Source is external, right? It's I trust CNN, or I trust this, or I trust that. Experience is internal. Does this feel real to me? So is this real versus does this feel real? The problem with does this feel real, which I think is really where we are, the problem with that is that it's completely and entirely subjective.
Right.
Which to me means that there's nothing real anymore. If you can't define something as being real,
what do you believe that is real? And belief systems have been challenged since
but those
began.
Belief. That's belief.
Sky hit it on the nail. Yeah. It's the word belief. And it doesn't have to be real for you to believe it's real, or for your belief system.
I'll tell you right now.
And that's the whole where we are now.
Did Moses split the sea? I don't care. I'm the rabbi on the panel. I don't care if he split the sea. It's completely unimportant to me if that is historically accurate. What matters to me about that is that I have this story which teaches me powerful lessons about who I am, not who he was, but who I am. Yeah, that's all that matters.
It's the mirror.
The difference is...
That's what I said about Disney.
But
that's exactly where you are with Disney.
That's about faith and belief, and that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what actually happened, what's right in front of me. Faith and belief to me are not about what's real. The faith and belief are not real. They're faith and belief. They're outside of science. They're outside of fact. Sure. Outside of proof.
Sure.
Jeffrey. Well, I was thinking about this. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I believe I can fly. But more to the point. Thank you.
I believe I can touch
more to
the sky.
Point. Yeah, more to the point. I want to go back to that CNET thing for a quick second. And that is because there was a more recent incident that happened. That was on July 15th. YouTube had changed a small little nomenclature inside their basically a policy on how you can get monetized, and everybody went off the rails saying, oh, now AI slop is going to be demonetized for people. You won't be able to create channels or anything. It wasn't all about that. It was about the channel being original, content being original and not repeated and reslopped and reslopped and reslopped, because that was a policy that's been around for years. The problem was there were too many people that got the information wrong, just like with the CNET thing. Mm-hmm. And you got to sit there and ask yourself, you can put out the information. Will they read that information? Right. And that's the problem right there. They get into their own little snowball and they'll say, oh, and I even saw an article after the fact, after it was all said and done, 3 weeks later, I saw somebody post an article saying, "Oh, YouTube is going to take care of this AI slop with demonetization," and it's like, didn't you not even read what happened? Do you realize that it went in effect like a month prior? And they just don't care. All they care about is themselves and what they think. And trying to change those minds is almost impossible. And if you fight them, they can become more of a problem than if you leave them alone. And I think that there's just, first of all, there's way too many people that you have to try and change. And second of all, if you change the wrong person, that can be a bigger problem in a different direction. Maybe they'll come after you in some way, shape, or form. Just like those people that are betting on sports games are now going after the players because they didn't win the game. It's their own little world, and you cannot change it for the life of you. Yeah.
It's not much. It's speaking to the bigger problem, though, that people are they're doing what I did. I read the headline and I went straight to the comments. The comments were completely negative. Every one of those people went to the comments because when you go to the article, inside that headline, it actually has accurate information. So that headline was specifically to draw people in and to get people to click on it. And people didn't click on it. They read the headline and clicked straight to the comments because they're feeling lazy like I was feeling lazy, right? But inside the article, it was there. It was, because I went back, I'm like, now it's starting to feel a little, I need to get more information. Because I'm like, Leo, I just assume everything is fake and I'm going to have to, and it all looks good. And then I have to go and do fact checking. And sometimes I'm lazy to do fact checking.
But what you're saying is you've gone past that. You've gone past that 4-year-old that looks at a cartoon and goes, right. Wow, so Bugs Bunny can fly and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're now at the reality of, okay, so it's entertainment. We have every single new technology or whatever you want to call it, or new way of broadcasting it always goes down a very similar path. It always ends up where it is exploited or used for adult content. It's always exploited or used for news or for manipulation. And in most cases, they then come back after that sort of rush to then become something that is used once it's understood. And I think that's exactly where we are with this. Sitting there I sat there and watched this show where Tony created an AI version of himself with Ken. It's amazing. It's great. It was brilliant. But my brain knew it wasn't real, but I'm sure that there were people going, wow, that's really real. And then you're now sitting there going, it's going to just move it forward. And I think that's the point. You're having to, unfortunately, find out. And for me, it's 3:00 in the morning, so I can say this, that Father Christmas doesn't exist. You're only going to find out about that at a certain time. And I think that's exactly the issue where
you know what I would say though, Leo, and then I'm going to Lois, and then we got to call it because I got to get Leo to sleep. But I would say that the difference between Tony, I don't mean to pick on your avatar, Tony, but the difference between Tony and his avatar, which we all know inspired my avatar, that's how amazing it was. That Talal made, I think, didn't he? Did Talal make that for you, Tony?
Ken Jordan.
Ken Jordan. I'm sorry. I want to make sure we give credit. The difference is that
printed it.
Ken didn't make that hoping that you and I would look at it and think it was real. Right? There was no desire to try and fake us out. There was no desire to pass that off as real. But in advertising and in political ads and in a lot of other places, that is the intention. And we are being faked out. And we're getting it wrong, I think, a lot of the time. Lois, jump in.
So Tamara's story is, I think, very interesting. And I'm wondering if maybe the solution is that the people who write the article get 20 bots and they put them into the comment section first as they publish the article. And then there's 20 good things. And then if you jump to it, you see that it's good. Maybe that's.
I don't think they care.
That's a terrible idea. But
yeah, that's already been done too.
Yeah, I'm sure it has.
Yeah, padding the good reviews.
The people who have got all the negative things are in fact the bots of some competitor who are trying to game the system, and it's not real. And you don't know whether or not it's real because those people who are making the comments have no reality, no connection. You don't know who, isopropyl 527 is. It's just a name. But when you're looking at things that are intentionally attempting to be imitations of us and try to fool us, that is, I think, what we need to be focused on and worried about is the intentions of folks to fake us.
So
I kind of disagree with that.
Oh, good.
But
I know I kind of do, because
I think she's making a good point. I mean,
I don't think she's making a bad point.
We didn't even talk about all the bots that impersonate human beings and cause you and I to make different choices online because we're looking at comments that were not even left by literally real people.
So I don't
Voting
disagree.
fraud.
I don't disagree with that 100%. But I will say this. The problem with it actually isn't the bots, and it isn't the fact that CNN wanted a lot of clicking on there, so they picked a headline that would get people to click on their thing. That isn't the problem. The real problem is how many people go to the comments first and comment, and how many people are not taking it seriously that this is fake, right? So I automatically go, I want to find out. It's my nature to ask questions, and when it sounds real, and a lot of stuff sounds real. It just looks real. It sounds real. It looks good. And we can all put out content that looks good. That's actually not the problem. The problem is how many people have given up their ability to think and make critical decisions in favor of quick answers. And that, to me, is the bigger problem.
Yeah. All right. I'm giving the
I
last
always
word to
come back to
Jeffrey.
that.
It's his first time here.
Yeah.
Take us home.
It's going to be really quick. Leo, 2 years ago, an artist painted a mural on a bridge wall of a tunnel. And then 2 days later, somebody drove right into it and crashed their car. So even with cartoons, it can be as real as possible.
That's terrible. Wait.
Yeah.
Someone else say something. That we can't stop.
Can't be your
We
last
can't
word.
stop
Are
there.
all authentic and real, and I'm so glad that you're here and we're talking. I look forward to next week.
Yeah.
I know that Tony is real because I 3D printed that logo for him and it's sitting right behind
There
him.
you
So
go.
Wait, you 3D print what, like a bobblehead or
The
something?
CW behind him.
Actually, I am going to say something
the
really quickly.
CW.
One thing that even though people are, you don't just have to be real to be here. There are a lot of people on the chat, and there's a lot of people that I'm following on the chat who I know are real also because of what they say and how they say it. And I don't know how you explain that. I don't know how your brain knows how some of these people are real, but there's something, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I
so it
agree.
doesn't.
I know.
Yeah,
I think the best punchline is Tlaloc is real. I've met him.
Tlaloc is real. He is.
Yeah.
I want to give a
all
shout
the rest
out.
of the world can go around.
I want to give a shout out to Tlaloc, who's in the chat, and Beauty Bubble, and Victor, and Ek Potter, and who else is here? Oh, hi, Dahlia. My daughter's here. And DeCarmike00, everyone who's here. It's really, really lovely to have you here. And I'm so honored to all of you for being here. We went a little late tonight, but we haven't even begun. We have not even begun to scratch the surface on this. Jeffrey, please come back. It was such a pleasure to have you. Leo, please come back. But we need to figure out how we can do this not at 3 a.m. I don't know. I feel so guilty every time.
He's very sharp at 3 a.m.
He's ridiculously sharp. Yeah, and really a special thank you to Tamara, Lois, Tony, Sky, and Dave, my regulars here. I love having you all here. For those of you who might like to hop on the panel sometime, just pop me a message over in Discord. I'd love to see you here. We'll be back next week. So until then, have a lovely, lovely weekend, and keep it real. What do you say? Keep it real.